Well, thanks for joining us, Don and Renee. You guys are a huge blessing to me personally and to my wife and our marriage, and so glad you guys are joining us for this conversation. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you guys do.
I think we like to renovate relationships. We're really fascinated and pretty passionate about seeing people that are maybe stuck or have stalled or have lost some hope or some direction. And we feel like particularly a marriage is supposed to be good and rich and real. And we feel pretty called and pretty excited to walk with people and see if we can renovate some things and bring back some more life-giving dimensions to their marriages and their primary relationships.
The relationship health has always been a heartbeat for us. With all kinds of different populations, whether it's college age, marriage, singles, but we really love the idea that people would enjoy a relationship because at the end of the day, that's what your life is going to count for.
Yeah, nobody on their deathbed saying, let me hold the keys to my car one more time, or let me count my money again, or see how the 401k look. Yeah, they're saying, no, I want to be with my family. I want my kids around. I want, it's relationships.
Yeah.
One of the stats I heard was that they interviewed couples, married couples, and it was like 18% said that they were satisfied in their marriage relationship. And I thought, in the midst of the pandemic, in the midst of the crisis and being on lockdown and all that, I thought, wow, 18%. And then I thought, that means 82% of couples are going, we're not satisfied right now. This is not working. This is stressful. What have you guys observed in couples in times of crisis, kind of in your experience?
I think that during this time, it has exposed that which has probably already been going on or brought something to the forefront that you're like, we kind of put that on the back burner. And now we're having to really look at that, whether it's parenting or finances or job or how we're talking to one another. The measurables are all off right now. So for relationship health, I feel like it's really difficult to know if we're healthy. There's so much shame about getting help in marriage, specifically. Like you can hire business coaches and health coaches. You can hire any kind of consultant. But when we get to the area, even parenting, but when we get to the area of marriage, there is this shame message like you should have it figured out. You should know better.
And it's come to that. Now we have to get help. You know, it's gotten so bad now. Yeah.
Well, even retreats, when we have marriage retreats, we go, we're not asking you to come to this retreat because you're in trouble. We actually want you to come because we want you to invest in your marriage inside of your relationship.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you saw somebody going to the gym to work out and you go, oh, are you weak?
Yeah.
Sorry, I won't tell anyone I saw you going to CrossFit. You go, I want capacity. That's why I'm going. We don't know how to be together. We don't have an innate ability to do that. That's a skill, that's an ability, that's a practice, that's a thing we're continuing to work out. But if you want to go, I want to be physically healthy, I want to have capacity, I want excellence in this area, I want a really great relationship. Great, you should want a really great relationship. They're a lot better than bad relationships. You'll enjoy it more.
For some people, they tend to keep score. How many times have I been wrong versus how many times I've wronged? And it's funny because we skew it in our favor, right? Like we're always way more gracious to ourselves than we are to the other person. And I think so many couples they're carrying all of this weight of all the things that person didn't do or did that they shouldn't have done or whatever it is. And just to say, I forgive you. And you are set free. Really, they're set free too. And it gives you this new platform to build moving forward in this renovation of the relationship.
We were with a couple a few years ago and they said, look, our marriage is a B, maybe a B minus. Understand that B's and B minuses over time turn into C's. B's do not naturally evolve into A's. B's tend to unravel into C's. And so I go, you don't accidentally get to a better spot with yourself, with Christ, or with one another. You vote yourself in. And so if you want to be for the next 3 or 4 years, and you're okay with maybe having a C for the next decade, like you're on a good trajectory. Your call, but why would you want an average or below average, right?
So for couples that have now run into conflict, and my wife and I've kind of kept a journal through all this. And there's some days that we're doing great.
Right.
And then later that same day, we're not doing well at all. And things just kind of fell off a cliff, you know? And we've been up and down, and there's things that have come out. So once that happens and something gets brought to the surface and okay, there's a tension or there's a conflict here, now what? What do couples do next?
We've seen the craziest marriages come back to life. There's hope in Christ.
And I think people that are really struggling to kind of go getting clear with yourself and getting some more concentrated time, it's hard when things get real sideways to have enough time and space to get into and through things. You get into it just long enough to have another conflict, do some more damage, and then go back to being silent.
And our vision is skewed during this time. There's no way it's not, because there can be so much focus on that you think there's no way we'll ever get out of this pit. Really believe Christ has more.
Yeah, we're convinced God is a huge fan of marriage, and really good marriages, right? And we think he's with us and for us. And so if we can show up with some willingness, we just believe like he will step in to those places. If we can show up and we can be willing and we have the time, he's for this. This was his idea. And so we're trying to participate, but this was his idea. And so we feel like then his promise and his provision, we can say, this was your idea. We need some help. Can you help us?
You mentioned the retreat. So I want to talk just a little bit on that. So last year, we had friends that signed us up for your guys' marriage retreat.
Yeah.
And my reaction, and I'm going to speak for probably a lot of the guys, I was like, oh gosh, like there's so many things I would rather do than a marriage retreat. And I love my marriage, and I love my wife and all that, but I was just like, oh, this is going to be rough. And so you guys built your retreat for those kinds of couples that are like, oh man, there's a stigma here, or I don't really want to go. And you designed this in such a way that it would be fun and helpful at the same time. It would be kind of that combination of both. Talk through that philosophy.
Originally, when we got asked to do it, we were like, what would we want to go to? Well, it would be good engagement. It would be thoughtful. It would have fun in it. It would have space in the schedule for us to enjoy, because most people are way too busy. One
of the key things that you guys honed in on the retreat that I just thought was fantastic and that couples need to be reminded of is just the importance of grace in our relationships and the process of forgiveness, because there are going to be times that we fail each other in our relationships. Can you talk a little bit about grace, talk a little bit about forgiveness?
We're broken and we love each other, and we're going to do it imperfectly. And then what? We don't have to treat each other like enemies. We don't have to have a harshness with our own brokenness or with each other's. God is tender and kind, and in the Gospels, we see him entering the most broken and messed up, dumpster fire lives. But it's always with, full of grace and truth. The grace makes it safe, and the truth gives us freedom. And he loves those messy places. And then he's full of grace and truth. And I think it's because we need both. That's our story. So that's all we have is just our story, but it feels real to us. And if we get to release that to other people, that feels really worthwhile.
Guys, thank you so much for taking time and just kind of helping us through relationships and thinking about marriage and thinking about how can we get healthy. So again, love you guys. Really appreciate you taking time to share your story and help us as a church.
Thanks, Robert.